Further yield?
I do.
In the senator's distinct wisdom, is it possible that with the passage of this bill that we're creating opportunity to further incarcerate and thereby fund future development of private prisons in the state of Georgia?
I think your point's well made, and I hadn't thought of it, quite frankly, Senator, but I see that. In fact, I know several of the companies that are in that business that have bid state contracts and things over the years and been active in the political realm of things, and so it's a good observation on your part, and I think you're right.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. I hope you'll understand. I'm not saying this with any levity that we shouldn't use. We've got to talk about the things that are right and wrong, but this is serious business, and when we do this, you're going to put that man on the second floor that's got to sign or veto these things in an awkward position.
Chair recognizes Senator from 26 for a question.
Mr. President, Senator Yield.
26. Yes, Mr. Leader.
Senator, is it not true that unless we have your amendment and perhaps one other amendment to this bill, that in fact this bill is much to do about nothing?
I would say so, especially since much has been made about nothing being funded or subject to appropriation of this, that, or the other. And since it's against the federal law anyway, I would say yes, but I think we can have stricter standards. And I think if we're going to attack the problem where the people are breaking the law and using these folks that are trying to feed their families, we need to lock up those who would falsify Social Security numbers and misinformation and data.
Senator, is it not also true, you further yield?
I do.
Is it not also true that you have been in this body perhaps longer or at least as long as any other member?
I think the senator from 14th and I raised our hands at the same time.
Senator, further yield.
Yes.
Is it not also true that this bill has been around for all of 38 days?
It is.
Senator, further yield.
I do.
Is it not true, also true that this bill is coming out of the committee that is known for giving high levels of scrutiny to any bill that comes before it? The Judiciary Committee?
High level of scrutiny. I believe so. In the past, and I'm sure the president.
The Senator, further yield.
I do.
Is it not also true that in your years of experience and given the time in the session, with a bill that's been around this long, with this many amendments to be trying to perfect it on the floor, it is not also true that this is not a judicious way to handle our business?
It's not, unless you're looking to grab a headline or something.
Senator, further yield.
I do.
Is it not also true that it would be better for us, based on your experience and your vast knowledge of this process, that you would return from the well and move to table this bill till a time certain in 2013?
I'd be glad to make that motion or any other that would have the same effect at the end of the day, and I appreciate the question. But I think this is serious business, and I'm afraid that we're going in the wrong direction. I would appreciate your consideration of really punishing the people who are providing the problem and getting a lot of other folks in trouble. So hope you'll vote for that if you're serious. Thank you.
Senator from the 13th has a question.
Yes, sir.
Are you telling us that the feds are going to have to use illegal labor to build that fence rather than domestic labor?
No, I heard George Lopez say that one night on television. And he said, by the way, who's going to build it? Might have been a poor attempt at levity, but I'll say this in a serious way. I will say that I don't want people to abuse our system of services, but I also will say, Senator from the 13th, that I've never seen a harder working group of people, a group of people with more faith, and a group of people that love their families anymore. I want them to pay taxes, and I'll vote for that every day. But I don't want to try to pass something because it's popular politically and not responsible and not approached responsibly. Let's punish the people who are furnishing the problem. those that provide them with false papers.
Okay, Senator, I don't know what happened. We have lights that lit up again. I'm not sure what's going on. Senator,
I'll answer two more. How about that?
all right, two more.
Two more.
He's going to answer two. That was a magical number. You just don't know. Senator from the 43rd is recognized.
President, does the Senator yield?
I do.
Senator, isn't it ironic, based on the questions posed to you by the Senator of the 22nd, that we would, while undertaking this legislation, consider the origin of the state of Georgia? In as much as now we're looking to lock people out of the state that was originally the 13th colony. And would the Senator care to expound on who were the original inhabitants of the, well, not the original inhabitants, but the inhabitants who came from England to take up new residence in the 13th colony?
I would say that's very appropriate, and I would like to say that I'm sure the senator from the 14th, if he's here, knew General Oglethorpe when they got here in 1733. It was made up of people who couldn't pay their debts, many of them. Now, there's some other things too, but people who couldn't pay their debts and were considered criminals for civil matters in England and other places, and that was the origin of our first citizens. And so it is kind of ironic that we're closing the gate, and I think some of those folks were here when we got here. And if you want to ask the Cherokee, they'd be real glad to talk to you about it. But thank you for the question now.
Thank you, Senator.
Chair recognizes Senator from 35th for a question.
Will the gentleman yield?
I will.
Isn't it true that just this morning, many of the people who oppose Senate Bill 87 House Bill, came into the governor's office with about 25,000 signatures opposing this legislation?
I don't doubt that a bit, Senator. I've seen the senator from the 39th, I think, bring copies of those to the well. And there are a lot of people who rely on many folks, foreign nationals, and I would like them to all be legal and to figure out a way that we can provide them a way to pay taxes and a road to becoming a citizen with the proper steps to take. But I'm sure that's true. Yes.
Will the gentleman further yield? Isn't it true that most of them, we had about 10 media there, cameras, and most of them said that they were there because they are already being racially profiled and continue to have horror story after horror story of being stopped and falsely accused or arrested and even found guilty of things that they are not guilty of.
Well, I know that probably exists, and I'm sure I think those people spoke their minds and signed those papers. I would say to you, one place that I passed in Cobb County, a fish and chips place, had a sign up there, and it said, "We're here and we're so proud to be naturalized American citizens."
One last thing.
Wasn't that a great thing to read?
One last thing, finally, will you further yield? Isn't it true that when people work on these jobs, even though they are now being called illegal aliens, that they are paying taxes on their paychecks?
Well, I would say that some are, and some businessmen aren't honoring that, but you can't make it's hard to make an honest person out of a crook to begin with. So if a business person is going to pay their taxes, they're going to withhold on their employees.
So your bill is very necessary then?
Well, this amendment, I think, is serious enough to attack the people who are really providing a problem for these people who are fleeing, trying to exist. Thank you for your question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No